Welcome back. Right, you can see where we're up to. Everything's nice and shiny. The Foden here, and I'd started off with a Leyland with a drop side on it, and a Foden tanker, and a Foden with a chain back trailer body on it, which was, just show you how they should look. One like this. This isn't my work, it's going to be completely taken apart and redone, but they were called them a chain wagon, and basically what they were was a dray wagon. You'd put the barrels on there and the chains would secure them. You'd pull the chain down at the front here and tighten it off at the bottom, and that would pull it taut all the way along. You might get normally I would put the barrels at the front anyway, put the barrels at the front and cases of beer at the back, throw a sheet over the cases and leave the barrels as they are. But that's how they were. Most of those trucks have got all the posts broken off them. That's not one. This one is. There's one to show you, and it's got all the posts broken off, as you can see. And you've got two choices there. You can spend a fortune buying new posts, somebody will make them for you, or you can drill them out and do what I've done and turn it into a flat trailer. That's resin that you can see in the holes there, and when it's painted it will disappear completely. I'll also use a scriber that I use for my plastic model kits, and it will finish off that plank so that you can see there's no gap in the plank work there, and it will go back to being a flat trailer, so flat back. So that's where it started and that's where it's finished. A little bit of fettling, a little bit of filling up with, a little bit of drilling out and knocking up. I've also filed the bottom of those off so that they come out the same way as the Dinky trailers. Why do I keep saying trailers? The flatbats, the Dinky flatbats were actually turned out when they were new. So that's that one. He's going to be a Foden flatback. He's going to be a Foden tanker, and he's going to be a Leyland. Hang on, I've got them all wrong. Start that again. So he's going to be a Foden with a drop side on it, and he's going to have a trailer behind him like so. I've been running around that much at the moment, I just can't remember where I'm up to. The trailer, dead simple. Take it apart, clean it all up, it's all nice and shiny, there's no holes in the bottom of it. This body, however, was on this chassis, and they somebody very kindly drilled a hole right through the chassis, right through the body, the drop side body, and put a screw through it when there was a perfectly good screw hole at the back that Dinky very kindly left in there. I have no idea what that was about, but there you go. And the way they fit together is there's two pins go in the front of the cab there and a bolt at the back, and that's it, job done. This one I've not actually fettled off yet. As you can see, it's just a lump of resin, and I fettled it a bit underneath there. It just started on it, and it blends in nicely. You won't see that one when it's painted. And with this here, a little bit of fettling with a Dremel type tool, and away it'll go, and you'll never see it, and it'll look nice when it's done. So that is going on this here Foden. It's got a towing hook at the back, can you see that? Yep. And that towing hook will accommodate this dolly, which will go under this trailer. Yeah, so that will be a motor and trailer, motor and drag as well as I've always known, a motor and drag, and that will look really nice. That one's going to be sprayed up as a vehicle that would carry cables, and it's going to be for Glover. I'm going to make the cable drums for Glover's cables, and I'm going to chain them on. So that's that one. This one, now that I've got them the right way around, it's going to be, it's like jigsaw, isn't it? It's going to be a flatbed body on it, and I haven't thought of a load that's going on it yet, but I will do. Well, a light went out then, I don't know why. There we go, it's come back on again. So that will be a flatbed, and I'm going to make, because he's got a towing hook as well, I'm going to make another flatbed trailer. Just bear with me a second because that light keeps going out. Note to self, charge the blinding lights up. Right, we're away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another trailer the same as this. I can't make it out of metal because I haven't got the facilities to make a die cast that big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one out of plastic, and it will be a shortened version of this. I was going to buy one and cut it in half, but to buy them you've got to buy it off somewhere like eBay or Vinted or wherever, and to buy a flatbed is nigh impossible, and I'm not buying another truck just to cut it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a plastic one the same length as this one, and I'm going to use the design underneath here on the plastic one, so it will all blend together, and it shouldn't be too hard to do that. You know, there's nothing complex there, is there? A couple of bits of 1mm plastic sheet. I'll let you know how I get on. Obviously I wouldn't be able to just call that a Dinky toy, because it wouldn't be, but then I'm going to load that, and again you saw a lot of those knocking around. BRS used, for those of you that aren't as old as I am, BRS was British Road Services. BRS had loads and loads of them. I did think of putting a trailer like this. I've got another 2 of these behind it. That's a combination I've never seen personally, but there you go. That doesn't mean there isn't one, it's just one I haven't seen. So that's the plan, is I'm going to make a flatbed dog trailer to go behind this, and then work out a load to put on it. Probably timber. I did a lot of work with timber, driving timber trucks, so I might do that. So that is where I'm up to. I should end up with 2 motor and trailers. I did think about making a trailer for the tanker, but if you watch the video about the Foden tanker, which blends into this one in the end, just making the back piece was an absolute nightmare, so I don't think I'll bother. I might look at it when I've got absolutely nothing else to do, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to do that. The wheels, what can I say about the wheels? They're cleaned up nicely, you know, bit of fettling, and away they go. The tyres, and I've got hundreds of them here. Put new tyres on them. Guy by the name of Dave, nice guy, has very kindly sold me these tyres. You can see they're treaded. They've got a little tread on them. They look nice. They look like real tyres rather than the ones that on some of the Dinky trucks, and they fit pretty much perfectly on the wheels. And when those wheels are painted up with those tyres on, that'll look the business really well. The only sad thing is that with Dinky toys, they didn't go the same way as Matchbox. Matchbox, oh God, how many of these did I drive? Ford Customs cabs. God knows how many of those I drove, but there you go. So Matchbox, nice little truck that. I'll get round to doing that up. I think I've got 2 of those. What they did was they put the double wheels on the back, which is the right way to go, but Dinky never seemed to do it. It wasn't until the 70s that they started doing that, and I think they missed a trick there, to be honest, because these 8-wheelers, if they had double wheels on the back, would look the business. But there you go. That's something that happened 60 odd years ago, isn't it? 70 odd years ago when these were built, when these were manufactured. The axles are 2.5 millimeters diameter. They're big, thick pieces of, you know, it's not a nail, that. And they were all bent. They were all of them really caked in rust and all sorts of gunge, and it took some hours to get them straight and then get them clean. The way I cleaned them, the way I straightened them was in a vise. You put them in on the bent edge, wind it up, straighten it out. The way I cleaned them was to put them into a cordless drill, put them in the chuck, and then wrap a piece of sandpaper around them and set it going at high speed. Mind your fingers. If you do that, be careful of your fingers. And as you can see, it got most of it off, but there's still some little bits in there, and some of them are better than others, but I think they'll be okay. That's about where I'm up to. I've got a little bit of fettling to do. I've got a little bit of making stuff up to do, and what I'll do is I've got various cans of paint. I'm going to paint these with rattle cans, the paint you paint your car with, basically touch up paint for your car. So I'm going to prime them all with a rattle can with car primer. Then I'm going to gloss them, and then I'm going to spray a gloss coat over the top of that, a lacquer coat over the top of that. They should come up gorgeous. They should come up like brand new. The colours I'm going to paint them, I was going to try and follow Dinky's own colours, and at the end of the day, why? There's no real point at all. So BRS with the flat, definitely BRS with that one. Glover's cables with the drop side, and I'm going to go with, I don't know if any of you remember, either Harold Woods or Berry Wiggins with the tanker. Both, well, Harold Woods was a national tanker company, sadly long gone now, and Berry Wiggins were out of Salford, and they had their own tar refinery on the banks of the Ship Canal. So I'm going to go with either one of those, and I've not decided yet. All I've got to work out then is where I'm going to get the transfers to put the names on, the decals if you prefer, and I'll see you when I've got some paint on them. Ta-ra! As you can see, I've got everything painted and I've got it all repaired. You've seen the repairs on this, on the last video I think it was, and unfortunately this one, when I painted it, before I painted it, it looked fine, and then when I painted it, it showed up a crack that goes halfway across here. So it's right down the side of the chassis there, and right down to the chassis there. So I was going to try and solder it, but unfortunately the melting point of this is very similar to the melting point of the solder. So what I decided to do instead was to super glue it. I bought this stuff from China. It's high strength oily glue is all they say on it. There's a couple of versions of it. That's another one. Welding glue, that one's called. It's all the same stuff, and it's all sold by the same company. I may have bought these in the UK. I may have bought this one off Amazon. I can't remember if I'm honest, but this stuff is it really is strong stuff. So I've glued it together, and as far as I can tell, it's worked quite well. It's the crack has disappeared under there. When you put this glue on, you can't get it off. It's really heavy stuff. But there you go. So that's fixed, as far as I can fix it anyway. The inside of the cabs, I'm not going to paint them. I was going to paint them yellow. When you look at the BRS trucks, that the historical pictures, it's very rare to get a colour one, to be honest, of the date of these wagons. And most of the cabs were yellow inside. But I've decided I'm just going to leave it grey primer. Mask it all out on the inside and leave it grey primer. That one's going to be bright red as a British Road Services one. I've made a headboard for it, which will sit on there. Drivers of a certain age will know that that's where you put your sheets. It will also have a sign on it saying British Road Services, and it's basically sheet styrene made up into a headboard. Yep, so that's that. That will go on top there. Again, it will just be super glued on. I've made from scratch, you may have seen the short video I put on the page there, the channel, and basically what it is, again, it's made from sheet polystyrene. I've scored the floorboards in so that they look pretty much the same as the Dinky ones on their trucks, on their units. It's exactly the same size, obviously not in length. You'd have fun getting around corners with a trailer that big in this country. And I was going to video the process of building it, but to be honest, I had to take it apart so many times and redo it. What I should have done is made a drawing of it first, and then built the truck from the trailer from the drawing. Sadly, I didn't do that, but I will do. I've got to build another 2 of these. I'm going to put these probably on eBay, and I'm going to put them on as motor and trailers, all of them, the whole lot. So basically 1mm thick styrene board, all the pieces cut out of it, where it's got to be a bit thicker for the axles, glue 2 pieces together. The dolly at the front, that will come off. It won't do when it's finished, obviously I need to be able to take it off to paint it. Okay, sorry about that. It's quite an urgent phone call actually, so that's sorted, and it was quite a while, so I've forgotten exactly where I'm up to. But what I think I was telling you was, this is the dolly, and it's had quite a bit of plastic on it because it's quite a hefty piece, isn't it? I've not made these are more like, the way I've made this is more like the shape I believe that the tow bar would, the pull bar would be in, and on every one that I ever drove this was filled in. I'm not going to fill it in just because. So that's the idea with the pull bar, and it just clips into 2 pieces at the front. Excuse me. As I say, I'm going to make a drawing of how I did this. If anybody wants a copy of the drawing when I eventually get round to doing it, you've only to ask, and I shall send it to you. The wheels, that one's stuck on with a little bit of double-sided tape, which isn't now. And the wheels, these are the wheels off what the Leyland 8-wheeler. However, what I've done is, there's a couple that didn't come out very well at all. That one's a nice one. So what I've done, I don't know if you can see that, can you see that? Yeah, I think so. Is silicone mould, and I put 8 wheels into a silicone mould, pretty much that sort of spacing. Poured silicone into it, only a little mould, 1.5 by 1.5 maybe, and gave it a day to set. Took these wheels out, the metal wheels, poured resin into the mould, and a day later you've got 8 new wheels. It's as simple as that. I've made axles out of 2.5mm brass bar, which is the same diameter as the axles that Dinky used, and to stop the wheels coming off the end, put a blob of solder on. Simple as that, dead simple, dead easy. And there you go. And I defy anybody making a casual glance at these to decide which is which. Yep, so that's done. And what it saves is putting the axle into a base and then banging 7 bells out of it to mushroom the top and stop the wheel coming off. So after you've done all your hard work on getting all this stuff prepared, the only way to do it is while it's on the wagon, put the axle in. Remember, you've got it all painted up and all nice and shiny. Then put the other wheel on the end of there and bash hell out the end of the axle. And I don't think that's the way to go. What I'm going to do now that I've decided to do it that way is clean the ends of the steel axles up with the original axles up with basically a bit of sandpaper. Use a bit of acid based flux and then do exactly the same thing, and just put a blob of solder on the end and that will do it. It ain't coming off. It's as simple as that. Try pulling your water pipes apart, they've got a bit of solder on them, you'll never do it. So that was the trailer, and you know, I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite proud of that, to be honest. I've got to change this piece in the middle, a kingpin if you like. A lot of these dollies, certainly a lot of them that I ever drove, were just a bogie and a 5th wheel stuck on top of it. And obviously Dinky aren't going to do that, but you used to pull them out and they'd sit on a leg at the front. And this was a kingpin sat in the middle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of 4mm timber, a little dowel and a little tiny rivet to go through this hole with a washer that won't go through that hole, and then sort of go through like that. Yeah, and that'll hold it together. They're not going to be toys anymore, these. It's going to be a demonstration. It's going to be a showpiece, isn't it? And if nobody buys them off me, I'll have a lot of showpieces, much to my wife's disappointment. So that's those, and that can all come apart now. Go to one side. I've got a tray full of wheels here that's I've come off all these wagons. That's the headboard off that one. Put those up there so they don't get broken. Right, what else have we got? The little trailer here, which was a bit of a template for the one that I've built, and as you can see, it's all nice and smooth, all nicely primed. I've taken this Foden came as a flatback, and it was originally a chain wagon, had chains all the way down the side of it. Most of the posts had broken off, so I've changed it from a chain wagon, and that base, that flatback, will now go on that Leyland. The trailer that we've just talked about will go behind that Leyland, and that's one done. I'm also going to load that with barrels. I've got a photograph, a colour photograph of a British Road Services motor, the same as this, a Leyland 8-wheeler Octopus, the same as this one, and I'm going to build this the same as that photograph, load it in exactly the same way, and if anybody buys it, then I'll give them the photograph as well. It's some kind of providence for it, isn't it? So that's all that one. That one would finish that one off. There's a hell of a curve on those cabs. It's quite difficult to get the curve right. But anyway, that's done. This one, this Foden, which was a flat, will now be a drop side, and You're well ahead of me here, aren't you? This drop side trailer will go behind it, and that will be loaded with cable drums from Glover's Cables. I think I've mentioned before, I was brought up, it used to be right behind Manchester United's ground, and I lived 150, 200 yards away from Manchester United's ground. The only thing that separated us was a railway. So this will go behind, and I'm going to make transfers or stickers or whatever for the cable drums, which I'll make myself, to load this, and that will be loaded with Glover's Cables. So that's that one. This one we've already talked about. I was starting to make a separate video about this one, but I've changed my mind. This is all painted up now, and you've seen a bit of work on it. This is the back, so that's the new rear end that I made for the tank, and to be honest, I don't think I've done a bad job there. If I'm patting myself on the back there. And so that all, there's a couple of little dents still in the tank, but there's no way I'm going to get them out. It's as simple as that. I'm not a panel beater, basically. That's the piece that was at the front, and that's the piece that I took the moulding off. You would think that would fit that, but it doesn't. So it took a little bit of filing and the like to get the rear one to fit. It also, you can just see there, it doesn't quite, once you take that off, it springs open. They must have had some kind of jig to put them on with, and it's fine. It fill in. So that one is going to be a tanker. I did think about making a tank trailer to go behind it, and I give myself a slap around the back of the head and thought, no, that would be silly. That's just going too far, and it does fit on there. So that will go on there. It's got all its bits and pieces, and that's where I'm up to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get all this painted up, and then I'll do another video when it's all painted up, and then I'll make the loads for them, and I'll show you those when it's all done. But that will be the next video, is to paint it up and to load them. Any questions, any comments, please leave them in the spaces below. It would be great if you could subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, please click the button like, and if you could share it with people you know, that would be even better. So subscribe, like and share, be fantastic. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak soon. Ta-da!